What do you think the Supreme Court's going to do?
Well, I think the Maine Supreme Court and their court system is it's hard to know. Obviously, Maine is a shades blue, and even their Republicans are pretty liberal. But ultimately, this was a lawless act by someone that didn't have the power. There was no due process, nor any type of hearing, fact-finding, or otherwise. And so, I think this will be overturned ultimately. I think really the Colorado case is better positioned ultimately. An appeal to the Supreme Court of the United States from the Supreme Court of Colorado is probably better positioned for the court to decide this issue once and for all and put an end to these novel legal theories that somehow Section 3 of Article 14 to the of Amendment 14 to the U.S. Constitution is somehow self-effectuating and can spring forth and be exercised by people like the Secretary of State of Maine.
Matt, I know Shanna Bellis has done quite a few interviews since her decision to do this, and now I'm hearing the talking point of she made this, it was her duty, that even despite it may put her life in harm's way here. This to me just seems like talking points, and it seems like to me a foreshadowing of what's to come in 2024 from the left to paint the picture that people on the right, or those who support former President Trump as he runs for president again, is some kind of fringe group that could come after them, which we know that's just not the case here, and it just seems divisive to me.
It is, and the left is obviously trying to hold together a very shaky coalition of mostly radical activists. But at the end of the day, the American people see right through this. And in fact, I just today was talking to someone in Iowa, my home state, that's just essentially the more the attacks against Donald Trump from the left and the more they try to keep him from the ballot or put him in jail, the stronger it makes Donald Trump. And ultimately, I think a lot of people are seeing that he must be onto something if the establishment, and especially the establishment on the left, wants to keep him out of Washington, D.C. He must have some good ideas that are going to fundamentally change this country for the better.
Matt, let's move back to Colorado. You mentioned it. Yeah. Mr. Trump, of course, faces that other ballot issue there. They're the state that started the whole thing, so to speak. The state's Republican Party, though, appealing the court's decision to remove former President Trump. You said you feel this case is poised more strongly for the Supreme Court of the United States. Why is that?
Yeah, because I think it hits four squares. The question, the due process question, obviously, there was a 1-week hearing, no ability to subpoena witnesses, no discovery. Evidence was used that was highly partisan, including the January 6th committee report. And I just think on that issue, and then also on the interpretation, I think the Supreme Court could smack it down pretty easily because all of the arguments that the Supreme Court of Colorado got wrong are teed up for the U.S. Supreme Court. But I think many people that watch the U.S. Supreme Court are saying that, and I agree, that they're going to try to find a way to unanimously reject this Colorado court case and allow President Trump to ultimately be, voted for or against by the American people, which is the way it should be.
Matt, if it's not unanimous, say it's 8-1, 7-2 here, what kind of message does that send to the country? And does that further put the stake in between the two sides here? I think the Supreme Court really needs to send a message here and tell the American people, we have your backs when it comes to who you can and can't vote for.
Yeah, I think if it's not unanimous, I think that dissenting voice or voices is going to be very important frame to this. And again, the Supreme Court is supposed to be the final arbiter of what is the law. And if they can't get the 14th Amendment and how it's not effective and how it needed Section 5 of the 14th Amendment, which says explicitly Congress has to pass the laws. And obviously they passed a statute that made criminal insurrection. Donald Trump has not been charged with it, nor has anybody that participated in the January 6th riot. And so, you put all that together, and I just can't imagine that one Supreme Court justice, no matter how radical left they might be, is going to hold up their hand, kind of like this Secretary of State in Maine, and suggest that they are so biased and so, suffering from Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, you said it best here. I think they have to make a unanimous decision here. Matt Whitaker, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you both. Happy New Year.
You as well.